Hey everybody, it's Andre Jourdan, and I'm here with another good friend, somebody who I haven't seen in a little while, but we stay in touch as much as possible. And my guest today is Stacey Peters, who has been in the dental field almost 30 years. And, her forte is helping offices on the business side of dentistry. And, she's currently the director of Startup MBA at Ideal Practices, which I've gotten to know a lot about over the years. But we got to know each other. It's almost been 20 years ago, working together, helping offices get the most out of their technology. And we even spent a day together running from a tornado in Illinois.
We did.
Yeah, we weren't doing good. We were on a deck at a restaurant in Illinois when there was a tornado coming in. So we're right in the path of a tornado, having a good old dinner, right? But it's so good to see you. How's it going?
Oh, it's so good to see you, Andre. It's going really well. I remember that night because somebody took a selfie. I wish I could find that picture. It was all of us. It was like those dark clouds in the background. It was crazy. It was a lot.
I have it. I'm going to post it. I'm going to post it and put it right here in between us. So I have that photo. I'm going to post it out there. So be prepared to see that.
We were in Effingham.
Effingham, Illinois. That's right. And it was the clouds were getting bad, and we were out there. Well, I think we probably had a couple of adult beverages.
We did, and we didn't care that the clouds were coming in.
No, it doesn't matter. So I'm glad you did this, and I sent you my 6 questions, and we're going to go through these kind of rapid fire. But I know you as somebody who's made a lot of changes in your career. I've kind of watched it, and we've talked. Almost every time there's been a change in our lives, we've watched our kids grow up. So, my first question for you is: think about one of those forks in the road that you've taken, and compare yourself to one of those forks. And tell us about the fork that you've taken.
So many forks, so many forks. I feel like there's a fork all over the place. Forks in every direction. But one of the forks that was probably most impactful for me, the beginning of the fork, the first fork, the smaller fork, we actually share. So so I had a position. It was a sales position, but it was like consultative sales. It wasn't like high pressure sales or anything. It was in technology, and I loved that position. I loved so much about it. I loved, the educational portion. I just loved that. I loved the money. It was like everything about it was, I loved. And then that position was eliminated. And I, then became a trainer of those same products. And I loved it, but I guess I didn't know that I loved it. Because in my mind, it was kind of, and this was ego driven. Like, I know, looking back, I know that now. In my mind, in sales, you got like the recognition. You've got the the accolades. You certainly got the money. And it was, to me, I was like almost bitter about it. I enjoyed it. But there was a part of me that, like I said, that was kind of ego driven, that I felt like I really want that back. So I actually took the first opportunity I could to get back into sales. A little bit different of a sales role, same company, same everything, but a little bit different of a sales role. And I hated it. I absolutely hated it. And, it came a point where I realized that like my real passion was helping people, and my real passion was the educational part of it. And the rest of it really didn't matter as much. The money didn't matter, the acknowledgments, the awards, it didn't matter. And I kind of hit that point where I was like, I just need to do what makes me happy. The rest of it doesn't. So I made the choice to go out on my own to be a consultant. And the most rewarding thing, I had ever done, eventually the money follows, but even that part, it was secondary. And but it led me to where I am today. And now I get to, kind of cool. But when I went to, when I did consulting on my own, I was the one that they would call in to fix things, to fix the sinking ship, to save the day. And now I get to help doctors start out on the right foot. Like the brand new doctors opening their business right from scratch. I get to help them do it right the first time. And so it ultimately led me here. But yeah, that fork, I guess, was, the most impactful fork was when I realized I made those decisions, I made those choices, and I realized that in the future I need to make the decisions based on how I felt and have nothing else play a role in it. And I've never been happier.
Yeah. Yeah. And I years ago, I saw that fork for a lot of us. I mean, there were a lot of us who went through that process. And a lot of it was, we were really working towards helping people find solutions and not stuff. We really were helping people. It's, again, consultative, where we were helping people find solutions to issues and not about stuff. And we had lots of stuff to sell, but it really was about what was the right solution for that office. And we felt good about the solutions we gave. So and I think that's a really good eye opener, but I love that. So that's a great one. Let's talk about question number 2, which is there a book that you think everyone should be reading and maybe reading over and over and over again?
So many. So this was actually a really hard question for me because I listen to many books on Audible. So I was going through my books, like the books that I have physically, and going through my Audible when you asked me the question. I'm like, really? What? Like so many? Like, how can I pick just one? And then I picked up a book, and I was like, like through my life, through my career, there's always one that I've gone back to, and always one that I've recommended. And that's, it's probably a little cliche, but The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That's one that I've always gone back to. I've read that one many times. So I would have to say, I recommend that to anyone. It doesn't matter, if you're career driven or, if it's about your personal life, it has some great tips, and I always go back to it.
Yeah. Good book, a highly recommended book. And it's, again, one of those books where I can pick up and read a chapter out of sequence on a regular basis. And I do, most of the books that I read, I know them almost by heart. And that's one where I can just go, let me go into this page or that page and just pick it out. And that's awesome. That's an awesome one. So I love it. Any other ones that you want to talk about?
Right now, I'm kind of, I read a lot of leadership books. And there's one by Gino Wickman that is called How to Be a Great Boss. And I just read that, and I thought it was like fantastic. Like I've kind of explored a little bit like of some of the EOS systems, that they have, but that book like had so many tangible things in it. I really like that as far as like a leadership book is concerned. Pretty good. All
right, so I gotta look for that one. That's a good one. That'll be a new one on the reading list. So, and if they have it on Audible, then that's even better.
Oh, they do.
Okay, cool, awesome. All right, so for question number 3, are there one or two of your favorite quotes that you want to share with us?
Yeah, I realized how often I quote Dr. Seuss. So I thought, but ultimately my favorite quote is Maya Angelou. So many quotes from her as well, but people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you make them feel. I love that quote, and I remind myself of that quote, like even, spending time with my family, like for me, it applies to every aspect of my life. And that's probably my favorite.
That's an awesome one. And never underestimate Dr. Seuss. My son did his college essay on green eggs and ham and got into an Ivy League school with a full scholarship. So.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. Never underestimate Dr. Seuss. I love that. All right. So let's go on to question number 4. And this is kind of the space we lived in, which was, what's the high-tech thing that you can never live without? And it's got to have a plug or a battery.
Yeah. Again, so many things. I think, my first instinct was to say my phone, but the reality is, it's really my smartwatch, because I feel like sometimes phones are so intrusive, and, I like to, keep in touch, and I like to know what's going on, and I like to know how many steps I get, and I like to, but, sometimes, when you're with people, to constantly be looking at your phone, even if you're just checking the time, it seems rude. It's a little bit intrusive. So, I find that, I can still do some of those things just kind of on the fly and just real quick. So I would have to say my smartwatch.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out if I can, I'm weaning myself, and I wear one, but I'm trying to wean myself from my watch for my sleep patterns. And I just found a ring that does sleep. And because I find having my watch on at night, if it's something that goes off at night, it wakes me up or whatever, disturbs my sleep. But I love to be able to track my sleep. But I realize I don't want to wear my watch when I'm sleeping. So I'm trying to wean myself off of wearing it while I'm sleeping. Mm-hmm. So that's the one thing I've been looking at. So I'll put that in here too. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. All right. So now let's unplug and de-battery. So question number 5, what's the low-tech thing that you can't live without? What's that? What is that? Is that actually a book with pen?
It's my notebook. I'm on the phone with doctors all day. I'm on the phone with clients all day. And I just feel like it takes my mind off what they're saying if I'm trying to type it in, if I'm trying to take notes in that way. I also find that the older I get, things leave a little bit quicker. So I'm constantly writing things down. I feel like, and sometimes it feels like double the work. I've actually tried to get rid of it, like the checklist on paper and the notes that I take from my phone calls. I try to get rid of it and try to go electronic with it. But I feel like I retain the information a little bit more, and I can listen. I can listen and write at the same time. And I can't so much listen and hear what they're saying and type it at the same time. So I'm a little old school when it comes to note taking.
I keep, I realize that as I've gotten older, that I should be taking notes, but the problem is I'm dyslexic, so my notes are no good. I need like a Rosetta Stone, so after I'm done writing it, somebody can interpret what I wrote down, because my notes are terrible. I just say. So I've got to fall back to technology.
You were the one who taught me the text to talk. Oh, try this. No, it was talk to text. You taught me that. Well, part of it, we were using it for perio charting. Yeah. But you had taught me the text to talk, or talk to text. And I tried that for a while, just kind of taking my notes and that way. But I needed to go back to the paper.
I'm with you. I keep telling people I've got a pen, but I don't know that I don't know if the ink is any good in here, but I got a pen. I try, but I have a stylus on my phone too. So I try.
Oh, perfect.
Well, okay. So let's go back to the beginning, which is, so for question 6, if you could go back to that fork in the road, what advice would you give yourself?
So I was a little bit nervous, to take the leap, as anyone would be. I tend to be, I'm pretty daring with a lot of things in my life. I like to go skydiving. I like to go jeeping. I like to do things like that. But when it comes to taking a risk, that involves, a job or, finances, I tend to be a little bit more conservative. And, but, if I could go back to that, moment in time where I realized I just really didn't like what I was doing and I knew what I wanted to do, it took me a long time to take that leap. I think I even reached out to you several times. I'm going to do this. What do you think about this? I think I'm going to do it. But if I could go back to that moment in time, I would just dance around myself going, do it, do it, do it. Because I just took so much time to make the final decision that, I should have just done it sooner. I would have been happier, quicker.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's funny because there is one of the, we were in a situation where some of us got pushed off of a cliff into a new career, and some of us leapt off of that cliff too. And, it was interesting to see of the group of us who went through that process, how many people landed on their feet, how many people tucked and rolled, how many people got hurt, leaping. It was an interesting process, but it's something that everybody has to go through, that leap of faith, and see where they go. And sometimes it helps when somebody pushes you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So here's the question that I didn't prepare you for, but this is how I wrap up all of these conversations. So Stacey is who she is today because of hard work or luck?
Has to be both. I mean, I think you can work so hard, and but if there's a little bit of luck in there, that pushes you just that much further. And I also think if it was all luck, luck can only get you so far too. I would say the hard work for sure. But the luck part of it was not privilege. It was not, I was lucky to be born this way, or I was lucky to be born into a family with this, or it wasn't like that, but more like circumstantial luck. Right place, right time, meeting the right people, knowing the right people, having the right friends. I feel lucky in that way. So probably a combination of both.
Yeah. And sometimes bad luck.
Sometimes bad luck.
That's it. Yeah.
I tell my clients all the time, sometimes a bad experience is just as valuable as a good experience.
Exactly. So I am so glad we got a chance to do this, because it's been a little while since we got a chance to kind of connect and say hi. And this was an awesome opportunity to do this. And thank you for being part of this process. I think this has been a great series of questions.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Andre.